And now we go to the leader of the Frankish crew. I say crew, it's more like a movement and a cult these days. But Thomas, Frank, Thomas, Frank.
Thomas, Frank. My name is Brian Daigle, and I a fully blown fraholic.
Talk to me, Daigle. That was a pure Frank masterclass today.
Mate, it was. And first of all, big up to both of you and Sice. Good to see you, brother.
Much love.
And everyone in the channel. Listen, everyone thought he was going to go to the back three. I think I did. I think a lot of people did. He threw a curveball before a ball was kicked. And he's got it spot on again, hasn't he? It was a fantastic team performance as a complete team. Johnny was going on about the difference in football. I think the football was brilliant.
Yeah.
I honestly do. It was structured. It was organised. Some of the time, it was mop up pressure, just keep the ball and passing it around. We always had to be clinical with our chances. We weren't going to get loads, and we had to make sure we took them when we got them. And this is why Frank had Brentford at highest XG, highest goal conversion. There was all the stats that he was number one for finishing, apart from shooting from distance. It was just the defence looked structured. The defence looked organised. The last-ditch tackling, which is a training drill, people said they've seen at the training ground before the games where they're throwing their body on the line, was there for all to see. The workman-like midfield. And then the attack. It was a fantastic performance. A clean sheet. Brilliant.
Yeah.
Brian, you mentioned about organisation. I think that's a really critical point because we've talked a lot, and rightly so, about the incredible midfield today. And I think the pressing's been fantastic. But what also a joy it is, and from a confidence perspective, not just for the players but the fans, to have that structure at the back. I appreciate injuries can play a part at some point in the seasons, but hopefully, fingers crossed, it all works well for the guys at the back there. Romero van der Ven, incredible level of talent and producing that. How important is that for also the rest of the structure for us to be able to compete in the midfield like we did and have that pressing mentality? That is massive, right? And that's got to be some detriment as well to, or some credit, sorry, to how Frank has made us be that organised, right?
Yeah, I mean, one of the great things that we've seen is obviously the concern, not a concern, but there are people saying, will Van der Ven be the same defender? We're not making those last-ditch runs time after time, getting us out of jail. They just look so well organised. Obviously, it makes a huge impact when you got someone like Paulinho in front of them. Yeah. And we'll talk about him shortly. It's just that back four was so exposed last year, whether it be the weak midfield that weren't, the injury, inverting back, whatever it may be. We were just exposed. We had a soft underbelly in midfield, didn't we? Well, we don't have a soft underbelly in midfield anymore. That's for damn certain. And that defence are just moving as one, and they're just looking. You saw it. I think Simeon recorded it in Korea when they were doing the defensive drills on the halfway line and just running up and down as a team, whilst one of the coaches had the ball. Just these little subtle things that you're seeing are making a huge impact.
Massive.
Yeah, absolutely. And let's talk about not just João Palhinha, but the three in midfield, because I thought all three of them were absolutely phenomenal today. Bentancur showing signs, well, not showing signs. I think he is back to his best, if not better than ever. Pape Matar is just growing and growing, game by game. What a player he is, our man, the match. But João Palhinha, first start in the Premier League, does what it says on the tin. It's like Ron Seal, João Palhinha.
Mate, I am pretty sure when Paulinho was born, the first thing he did was tackle the midwife. Because listen, that guy, mate, he tackled, like, you just see him sliding about. Yeah. There was that moment in was it start of the second half where they could have where we had that little mishap played out from the back. He just non-stop sliding. Yeah. We've got a guy that just loves to tackle, and it makes everything so much easier for the rest of the team. He's getting the ball. Some of his passing was exquisite as well. João Bentancur is, I agree with you, Ben, he's looking a lot more like his old self. And Sasa Toure is, he honestly, you have managers that work with certain players, don't you? Or can unlock something, find something in them that extra dimension, or gives them the freedom to express themselves a bit more. The thing, I mean, Passar had an engine on him, but he's popping up on the left wing, he's popping up at left back, he's popping up here, there, and everywhere. He's just growing in stature game by game, isn't he? He really is. But my man of the match is Linia. I think the difference he made and the impact he had was just super. I think Papassar did a lot more going forward, but I think what he offers defensively and breaking down these attacks from the opposition has added a massive thing to our game.
Yeah, and it's just like every phase and every aspect of our game today, whether it be in our box, in the centre of the park, in the attacking third, I thought was absolutely spot on. You mentioned before about having to be clinical. Well, we had 2 shots on target in that first half and we were 2-0 up at half time. That just shows you how clinical we were. And a player that epitomises that, in my opinion, was Mohamed Kudus, when you're talking about being perfect in every aspect, in every phase of the game. Talk to me about what Mohamed Kudus has brought to this Spurs team, because if you think about what the West Ham fans were talking shit about us, Mohamed Kudus, he doesn't bring the work rate, he doesn't work hard for the team, he doesn't have quality. Well, we're seeing the complete opposite to that, aren't we?
Well, it looks like since he's gone, they've conceded 8 goals and scored 1. And they're calling him lazy. Mate, this guy is such a workhorse. Such a workhorse. He does not stop. And like I said, he's everywhere. He gives Porro that he needs. He offers so much strength. He's hold up of the ball. Joe, this is just the start of his Tottenham journey. And he keeps improving. We have got a player and a half on our side. He was superb. Again, obviously it was a bit more of a different performance compared to Burnley, sorry. But he did everything that was required and more. His work rate and his tip, like they said, they say he's not a team player at West Ham. I think they need to get the dictionary out and look out team player and realise that they're not talking about the right word, because he's the epitome of a team player, isn't he?
100%.
I think as an individual as well, Brian, I think that's really important when it rubs off on the rest of the team. And I'm not saying it's just him. Obviously, a lot of the players are really upping their game or bringing a different dimension to their game this season that we've seen thus far. And of course, Frank's developing that as well. How pleased are you to see the individual aspects of every player on the pitch today, I would say, has literally upped their game, albeit a couple are new players, of course, but it's almost chalk and cheese from last year. So how impressed have you been by this new mentality? It feels refreshed. I know you can get a new manager, honeymoons and things like this, but this feels like different, right?
I did it before, and I think what we got to do here is, obviously people will know my love for Thomas Frank and how long I wanted him. But I think a lot of this as well has to go to that incredible coaching staff we've hired. Justin Congrane and all of them, they look... I've said it before, I think it's the best coaching staff we've had in Daniel Levy's and ENIC's entire tenure. And obviously, Pochettino brought in his guys, and then they've been mix and match with contact, whatever. But these people, this training, this group, there's a role for everyone and everyone has a role. And the way they're communicating with each other, like I think it was Nate who said it. Was it Nate who said it? Well, I loved listening to Nate. I think it was Nate that went on about the when Brennan Johnson. No, it's Jory. When Brennan Johnson missed that attempt, and then straight away Frank's going to concrete. Yeah. They're constantly talking. That he's with his tactic board. I think a lot of this we have seen. Managers at Tottenham haven't been allowed to bring their full quota of coaching staff. For whatever reason it may be, finances or didn't like that person particularly, whatever it may be. Frank has been able to bring, I think, 7, maybe 8 coaches.
Yeah, it was a good
refresh. And you can see the impact they are having on the training pitch. You're hearing people saying Romero's never trained like this before. Thomas Frank is a professor. He's incredible. Like I said, I think he is going to be very, very special for us. But I think we have to look at this coaching team as well, Si, because they are doing their job and then some.
Yeah, absolutely. But, not a bad weekend. Beating Man City at the Etihad, sitting top of the league, 5 goals scored this season, 0 conceded. However, there is only just over a week to go left of the transfer window. Sorry to
Why
bring
do
the
How
conversation
can you
down a
do
little
this,
bit,
Ben?
but what are you expecting? What do you think is going to happen from now until 1st of September?
I'm honestly stumped. I've got no idea. I've got absolutely no idea with what the prick is going to do. Absolutely no idea. If we need some strength in depth. You can see what Frank is doing with this. Seeking out a couple of quality players. We are going to be a problem for people.
Yeah.
We can't rely on this squad. There's going to be outputs as well. Some real quality needs to come in. I think it's going to be a very, very stressful week. A very, very stressful week. A load of, we tried. I just hope a couple of those we tried get over the line, and we'll see with Savinho. I mean, can you imagine him and Kudus?
Yeah.
I mean,
It'd be unreal, yeah.
It is mouth-watering, but we'll see what the prick at the top does. Hopefully Frank will get his way, but I don't want to end on talking about that prick right now. I just want to echo what you said, Ben. When we won 3-0 last week and we were all waxing lyrical, so many fans, Spurs and non-Spurs, not Spurs and non-Spurs fans, it's only Burnley, you're at home, they're cheap, they're just relegated team, what can you do? Then Man City go and do that to Wolves. It's Man City away. You're going to get thumped. You're going to get walloped. Yeah, now we do that. Well, what you saying now, motherfuckers? 2-0, a clean sheet at the Etihad. Top of the league, all right, it's only 2 games. Looking very, very comfortable. And, mate, it is a good time. And roll on to Bournemouth when it becomes 3 for 3.
Absolutely, Brian. Always a pleasure to speak to you, my friend. Just one quick word on. Tell me about the reactions in the Scotland Yard today.
7:30 game today, over 100 people here. It was always good and loud. Next week there's going to be loads. It's always brilliant to come here. Quite a few people were in here today that see me on the channel and see you, obviously, and they came in. It's always good in the Scotland Yard, and it's always good when Spurs win and the sun is shining.
Absolutely. Brian, have a good weekend. Enjoy yourself. Spurs, 100% record. No goals conceded this season. Thomas Frank. Thomas Frank.
Thomas Frank. See you later, people. Have a good afternoon.
Big up to you.